I actually think the current input buffer sound class already deals with the case when you have uh, 0 buffers and you need to play a sound. It'll just play over it and not add anything into the callbacks, the callback buffers, or the output buffers. Yeah, so sound is process. Okay. So how is that going to look? Gets the process output. So this should return immediately. How do you spell immediately? I don't think that's right. It looks funny. Anyway, process sound blocks for a long time on thread. Meant to be used on background thread. Yeah. So one thing I would do, I think I will extend input buffer sound class to have something that's more thread safe. And also, do we want to stick some kind of message system in there? And where do we want to add the visual, the filter entity? In our system we have a filter entity as well as a sound. So this takes in just the sound, but it spits out an entity this guy, along with a new bunch of sounds, which are, well, they could just be held internally. So what we could say is that we have a new voice entity subclass that handles the multi-threaded case and also has some state variable. Is that better than the input buffer sound class? Well, I would say maybe. Yeah, okay, let's think about this. The collision event happens. This thing collides. And that's where the add buffer thing is called. And maybe that thing gets, the original voice object gets deleted. Then in the update call of the effect, it will call process on a background thread, I guess, and set its state to not do anything until that finishes. And do some weird visual stuff maybe. So when that happens, do we want to at that very instant create a filter entity output or not? I mean, the other thing we could do is just not do that. We don't have to worry about this whole part yet, the spitting out portion. And we can just play back the sound here for now, and later extend it to that. Yeah, that's what we'll do. initially just play back when done. Okay. Because adding the tail is just an incremental step from that. So we are going to need you know, it is pretty weird, I do have to say, that we're now using filter sounds as complete sounds. And that we are also containing the complete sound model within voice effect, voice entity. But maybe that can't be helped, because voice entity does need its own copy. Yeah, this is kind of weird. This is pretty weird. Yeah, let's just do one. I mean, all of these ideas so far sound reasonable. Filter sound. Get output sound. Okay. And we and later we can do the processed sound. I mean the entity. For now, we're following our to-do list and just using that as our scapegoat. So I think this needs to be defined by the subclass, and the reason for that is, and I'm going to make a note, implementation specific calls. And the reason for that is because they are implementation specific. So let's copy these and put them into nothing effect. Oh, process sound is already there. Let's copy that and put that into the nothing effect. Yeah. So at some point we're going to have to create a new sound and fill it up. The advantage of using the, here's the advantage of using the filter sound. So the input sound buffer, which the voice class uses, is segmented by those input buffers, which are the size of the callback. But there are other buffer things like the sine, tone, thingamabob, and the noise, and there might be others that are file specific, other types of inputs. by using filter sound, there's a standard interface call, to get the audio out. And that will help us out quite a bit. So, I will say that process sound is in charge of making the sounds, the output sounds. So there's going to have to be some kind of state structure that gets checked, and what we can do is define that in effect entity, and that can just be a struct like type def struct effect state, and we'll put effect state there as well. So in this effect state, there should be we can have an int for we can have a pointer, a filter sound pointer, current sound. No, we'll just say sound. So this is a pointer, and we could do things like ETA, but I'm not sure if we need that. Let's see. Anyway, I think the class maybe can compute that on the fly. Do I need anything else? Do I want a mutex here? No, I definitely don't want a mutex in something like this. That should be external. It needs to be external if I'm trying to make this object be used in the thread safely. Okay. Filter sound. Let's start with this. Okay, so to get the output sound, in process sound, I can create one of these, but that's not going to quite cut it. Should I try that? Okay. We can start using some mutex action. So let me pull up not quite. This is kind of crappy.